In the latest development on the Dutch takeover of Chinese-owned semiconductor chip manufacturer Nexperia, which is based in the Netherlands, China's Commerce Minister Wang Wentao has called on the Dutch government to maintain the security and stability of global industry and supply chains.
The geopolitical dispute between the Netherlands and China over the control of the chip maker Nexperia is threatening to disrupt global car production. Volkswagen has confirmed that some Nexperia components are used in its vehicles, but production is currently unaffected.
No one expected a quiet regulatory announcement in the Netherlands to spark one of the most serious trade storms Europe had faced in decades. But late in September, inside the halls of The Hague, the Dutch government made a decision that would echo far beyond its borders. It moved to take control of Nexperia, a major microchip manufacturer owned by China's Wingtech technology. Officially, the explanation was national security. Unofficially, the consequences would expose much deeper vulnerabilities. The fragility of a global industrial system built on complex, interdependent supply chains. What began as a local legal intervention quickly turned into an international confrontation, shaking industries from Europe's automotive heartlands to Asia's electronic powerhouses. Nexperia is no minor company. Its semiconductors power everything from cars, smartphones, and battery systems to renewable energy infrastructure. Its chips are woven into countless supply chains that keep the modern economy functioning. That is why the Dutch government's sudden seizure stunned analysts around the world. On September 30th, the Netherlands invoked the long-dormant Goods Availability Act, a Cold War-era law that grants the state authority to seize private enterprises in emergencies. The law had not been used since 1952. Its resurrection sent shockwaves through international markets. What appeared on paper as a regulatory safeguard was interpreted abroad as something far more dramatic. To Beijing, the move had nothing to do with oversight. It was a direct attempt to wrest control of a Chinese-owned asset. Chinese officials denounced it as an act of economic aggression, accusing the West of manipulating legal tools to undermine China's technological rise. Dutch authorities insisted they had no choice. They cited alleged governance issues inside Nexperia, including claims of missing funds that totaled roughly $200 million. They said the takeover was necessary to protect Europe's semiconductor supply from foreign influence. Yet the timing raised eyebrows everywhere. For months, Washington had been pressuring its allies to curb Chinese tech operations, limit critical dependencies, and prevent Beijing from gaining a decisive edge in global chip infrastructure. To many observers, the Dutch action appeared less like an independent safeguard and more like a coordinated Western effort. China's response was immediate and severe. Within days, the Ministry of Commerce announced a full suspension of microchip exports from Nexperia's facilities in China. A legal dispute had transformed overnight into a strategic trade weapon. The bans targeted transistors, control units, and specialized chips, essential for braking systems, battery management, and energy grids, the basic components that keep vehicles moving and factories running. Europe felt the shock instantly. Because Nexperia's production network was globally intertwined, many chips manufactured in Europe were still tested, packaged, and finalized in China before returning to European assembly lines. When Beijing shut the gates, the entire loop collapsed. Factories across Germany, France, and Italy began revising production schedules. Engineers warned that even a short disruption could stall entire assembly lines. The European Automobile Manufacturers Association cautioned that most companies had semiconductor reserves for less than a month. Uncertainty turned into panic. Europe was facing the possibility of large-scale production halts not from raw material shortages, but from a geopolitical standoff over a single company. China's export ban was anything but symbolic. It was a precision-targeted reminder of just how deeply global manufacturing depended on Chinese processing, packaging, and materials. Containers filled with components piled up at China's ports. European suppliers scrambled to find substitutes, while electronics makers, power system manufacturers, and even defense contractors began calculating their exposure to Nexperia's shutdown. On October 23rd, Nexperia's Shanghai branch, one of its largest production hubs, announced it no longer recognized orders issued by its Dutch headquarters. The declaration came after European managers attempted to dismiss John Chan, the company's vice president of global sales and marketing. Chinese executives refused, arguing the directive violated local labor laws and held no legal force in China. Their public statement left no ambiguity. The Shanghai division would no longer comply with European commands. The announcement stunned global markets. A dispute that began as a government seizure in the Netherlands now resembled a corporate fracture. Major suppliers scrambled to adapt. French automotive component giant Valeo, supplier to Volkswagen, BMW, and Stellantis, announced it had sourced replacements for most of the affected chips. The statement briefly calmed investors, but it also underscored the scale of the crisis. Europe's industrial base was being rebuilt on the fly. Each replacement meant renegotiating contracts, validating component compatibility, and adjusting manufacturing lines, processes that usually take months, not weeks. To many economists, the Nexperia dispute signaled a shift from corporate governance to geopolitical contest. This was no longer about a company's internal management. It was about governments wrestling for control of the arteries that power modern industry. By early November, Europe's largest automaker, Volkswagen, circulated an internal memo warning that disruptions linked to Nexperia could impact multiple brands. Short-term impacts on production cannot be ruled out, the memo stated. For a conglomerate managing more than 10 brands and hundreds of thousands of workers, even minor pauses equaled billions in losses. Germany's National Automobile Association confirmed its members were receiving official notices from Nexperia, stating that deliveries could no longer be guaranteed. Japan's Automobile Manufacturers Association issued similar warnings, noting that shortages could affect Toyota, Nissan, Honda, and Mazda. Britain's Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders called the situation a critical blow to an already weakened sector. And behind every delayed shipment was a deeper truth. Europe's dependence on external supply chains had reached a breaking point. For years, European industries relied on a seamless system: design at home, production abroad, low-cost labor in Asia, and frictionless global logistics. That system functioned perfectly during times of peace and cooperation. But under geopolitical strain, it was beginning to unravel. Statistics told the story. Nearly 90% of rare earth metals imported by the EU, essential for electric motors, sensors, and batteries, came from China. In September alone, Chinese export data showed a 31% drop in shipments. Every ton withheld meant fewer cars, fewer turbines, fewer electronics. What began as a microchip dispute had evolved into a full-spectrum industrial test of strength. Inside European government offices, discussions shifted from short-term fixes to existential questions. Could Europe rebuild domestic supply chains fast enough to remain competitive? Could it balance security with economic openness? Could it operate independently of China while still needing China's resources? The Dutch government maintained its decision was rooted in principle, protecting national interests in a volatile world. But across Europe, many saw the start of an unavoidable reckoning. Economic sovereignty came with a price. Rebuilding domestic semiconductor capacity would require billions in investment, specialized training, and years of construction. Meanwhile, each escalation risked triggering further retaliation from Beijing. The European Commission drafted emergency measures to diversify supply chains and accelerate semiconductor production under the European Chips Act. But these solutions would take years to materialize. Until then, manufacturers remained vulnerable to geopolitical turbulence. China, for its part, used the crisis to strengthen domestic resolve. State media framed the seizure of Nexperia as a proof of Western hypocrisy, championing free markets while confiscating foreign property. Rather than retreat, Beijing doubled down on self-sufficiency in chip design and advanced materials. New export licensing requirements on gallium and germanium signaled China's willingness to leverage its dominance in critical minerals. So, the question remains: has Europe stepped into a confrontation it never fully understood? One that could reshape the global order for years to come? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more deep dive reports on the global shifts redefining power, trade, and the emerging economic reality.